You guessed it by the title, not much more needs to be said. Yellow. Of course, I'm going to bring up the fact that this is irony, since yellow was a term used to refer to men as cowards. It's interesting since I don't think they use the term like this anymore. Regardless, this song has a lot of the same themes that come from Green. I guess the difference is that he doesn't feel as guilty. Maybe slightly since he's unable to make friends due to this sickness, so consider him like the sequel to Green. We can analyze this one a little deeper since the lyrics are a little harder to understand. I've got a fever, can you heal me from this illness? Need a friend to get me through this ugly feeling. Keep these in mind, I'm gonna keep going. Yes, I'm evil, I'm a beast, I've got demons that I please. These two verses are the summary of Yellow's character. Very much like Green with the same sickness and everything, the only difference is that he's purposefully luring out other people in order to dispose of his illness. He'll gladly invite them inside like a rat trap, like guilt tripping. You can see this as a song about emotional manipulation. If you know somebody like that, then you know what I'm talking about. Somebody that uses their illnesses or their shortcomings in life to guilt trip you into coming back to them. Cracking like the daybreak, radiate a heat wave, toying with my food, you're my playmate. In often cases, they don't feel guilty, they like crying, they like using their tears as some kind of weapon against you. Bringing this back to Blue, that might be why he's so exhausting to be around. But the difference between Blue and Yellow is that Blue actually feels horrible, but he's still just a crybaby. Yellow does get sick, but he uses it as a tactic to catch his prey. The final sentence, then we'll move on, okay? My head splits into a fit, sickened by the thought of happiness. Then skipping about 2 verses, I've been fostered by other monsters, now I'm the monster that constantly wanders in the darkness. People like this tend to blame their parents, which, that doesn't mean I don't feel bad that Yellow had such a horrible life. But people weaponize the abuse they went through and act like they deserve to be horrible because they had a horrible childhood. And that thought process is evil, because there are hundreds of children that suffer far worse than you have, and they have gratitude just to watch the sun come up. This is not to say one's abuse is worse than the other. It's just to understand that you have no right to weaponize your so-called illness to abuse those around you, mind you, the same way your authority figures abused you. However, you could also take this if your father or mother was a serial killer, but if you've watched Resident Evil Lives Here, that's not how it works. Just because it's your child doesn't mean they're going to do everything you did. In the majority of cases, you have to be deeply mentally scarred and incredibly selfish to take it to this extreme, especially if you take into consideration that Yellow's actually a fictional character designed to be a serial killer. I'm just trying to pinpoint an actual experience to the song. Cyan. I feel like all these ones are just liars in disguise. Okay, let's get through this before I start comparing them one another again. To one another. Okay, lost in a maze, life is a chase, maze, life is a chase, you are the only one who stayed. I'm assuming she must be referring to the individual that's been going from friend to friend trying to escape. But from the point of view of a regular person, you can see this one has as the emotionally distraught kid at the back of the class that likes to approach, that nobody likes to approach. No, wait, my words are off, sorry, okay. Mischievous grace, a jagged embrace, it was never the same. So you know how the kid at the back of the class is usually the one who does the school shootings? It's a lot like this, since she's portraying herself as an isolated color, or rather rocket music is doing that. Dead inside, look in my eyes, I'm paralyzed. Not only that, but it seems she's a sociopath. I guess the world was built for all different kinds of friends, even those that want to embrace you with their teeth. I don't know why, but I just realized that all these rainbow friends have huge gashers in their mouths, except for purple, blue, and red. Blue just has this goofy, weird smile on his face. Despite this, I identify Cyan as a mentally disturbed student that didn't get the help that she required. Not every maniac is just a heartless, selfish, and narcissistic individual, okay? Truth is, I feel like I was used, blue and green fused for your amusement. This is actually interesting because if you look at both the characteristics of green and blue fused into one, I bet she's talking about red. I think he fused them. Point is, she's got the guilt and agitation of green alongside the irrational depression of blue, which makes the next verse even more dramatic. Staring at the walls, I'm busy being useless. That's her inner blue, his uselessness at its full capacity, just staring at a wall and crying. and possibly kidnapping children. Regardless, Cyan's fate was sealed when he combined her with that garbage. Green could still go because at least he has guilt, but all Blue has is self-pity. Even then, I think Cyan might have a couple screws loose because of Green's illness. All of them have illnesses, don't they? Orange. Sorry, my throat's really dry. I'm actually sick at the moment, so don't mind if I start wheezing or something. Okay, I've been known to have bones to pick. Somebody who's constantly looking for something wrong just to start a fight. Orange hits with ominous dominance. Don't take compliments. I've got problems with the world. Isn't it obvious that I don't lack confidence? A narcissistic bad boy. You know how women are? He's dangerous. He's the big bad wolf that's gonna protect you from these scary things. Mind you, he is the scary thing. I'm the one who tells you lies till it's ruined. I'm no saint. I'm a sinner through and through. I really don't know what has to be wrong with you to be like this, but to actually have a thing for something who's like this, somebody who's like this, not that he's a thing. And trust me, in the majority of the cases when a man like this has a woman at his side, she's suffering the worst of it. It's like an open flame. It's incredibly dangerous. Imagine standing inside the open flame. The fire doesn't protect you, it burns through you faster than it can reach its goal. These next lyrics only provoke my statement. I'm a prehistoric carnivore and I need to burn the things I like. Third degrees, defined by the ones with mean personified. That's really hard to read. Okay, let me reread that actually. I'm a prehistoric carnivore and I need to burn the things I like. Third degrees, defined by the ones with mean personified. This is a very confusing sentence, so I'll try and break it down. Prehistoric carnivore obviously means he's dangerous, aggressive. He burns things that he likes because he likes violence more than anything he could ever be capable of loving. Third degrees, obviously referring to wounds. Third degree burns, I think, are the worst kind of burns you could come out with alive. So then, beyond that, you are gonna die. Okay, in other words, he likes beating you to a pulp, regardless of whether or not he cares about you. Clearly, he likes hurting it the more he loves it. Defined means definition, so placing definition beside mean personified, he's basically an asshole. So he's a dangerous asshole. He basically calls himself a meanie. Personified means persona, right? Okay, so which then translates into personality. His personality is being a jerk. Of course, the rest of the song explores how he likes to slaughter his prey and how you should be scared of him. If you're a girl, take this as a metaphorical description for that bad boy in your class. If you're a guy, I guess you could enjoy the song, or you could kind of base something off of what not to be in the future, maybe, I don't know. Blue. Okay, take a deep breath. The worst of the worst, an emotional incel. I have a really strong disliking towards people like this. They weaponize their tears against you the same way Yellow weaponizes his illness. They shove you away like that and then beg you to come back, and when you do, it's just the same crap with a different story. Or a different excuse. They love excuses, but more so they love breaking down. I've been calling, but you won't pick up the phone. Yes, because I can taste the salt from the other side of the phone line. He just loves to cry and use his victimization. It's just me and me alone, and this crown on my head. Of course, crown on my head is a very repetitive sentence in this song, which I actually like. I don't really like that, but for this song, I actually like it. It sounds nice. Okay, it's a good thing they added the fact that he's wearing a crown, because this crown can be used as the anchor that's weighing him down. All those emotions manifesting themselves in his head, making his head feel heavier than his heart, because those tears aren't coming from a place of pain. It's coming from his psyche, the way he was built. Thus, the crown on his head is the problem. It can also be used as how he sees himself on the hierarchy, better than everybody else. He deserves to feel this way. Or not feel this way, but generally he deserves to get special attention for the way he feels. Okay, sometimes all I need is a friend, 'cause I'm the loner in the crowd, I was better with you around. He doesn't see you as a separate human being with your own emotional struggles and needs and stuff like that. He sees you as a status. You know that one guy in your friend group that everybody secretly dislikes, but they hang around him because he's in a relationship with one of their best friends? Crybabies don't tend to have friends, And it's not because they're being bullied, it's because anything and possibly everything makes them just want to break down. Of course, men's mental health is important, but Blue's not expressive of that. He's expressing emotions he's expressed with or without the individual he's craving to return. Deeper than the blue of every ocean surface, shattered, everything I told myself was perfect. Now I'm just a hue confused without a purpose, and I don't like this, no. I will go soft on Blue for this one. Some men tend to revolve their universe around family. They don't work because they like work. They don't live because life is great. Their purpose is their family. If you lose a structure that you attached yourself to, you ultimately plummet into the darkest abyss your human psyche will ever cope with. A human that feels worthless is the kind of human that believes existence is a punishment. In a lot of cases, a midlife crisis is a mild way of expressing how this particular emotion feels. The way I can just emphasize with this is if I didn't have a laptop, if I couldn't write stories, if I couldn't draw pictures, what is there to do except waiting for death? I empathize with Blue on that, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a bad case of patheticism. Conclusion. So what did we learn throughout this makeshift analysis? We learned that not only did the creators of the Rainbow Friends do an amazing job at characterizing their toxicity, but Rocket Music did an incredible job of deciphering these character traits into lyrics. You can conclude that if I ever wanted a theme song for any kind of game, Rocket Music would be my first pick. And if I could ask them to make me a song about any game that I can bounce off the top of my head right now, Resident Evil Requiem and Frambo. First of all, that Resident Evil song has to be based off Grace. She's the greatest fictional character to ever exist in my catalog of characters. Yes, I have that. Don't ask what it is. I'll see you next week. Hopefully, I think. I'm not actually entirely sure.